I've been a huge Subaru Impreza fan for almost 30 years when the car was first introduced in 1992. In fact, I clearly remember shopping for a then brand new 1996 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport. I wanted one for my own. Never got that one, but I did buy a 2003 WRX Wagon Spec R1 many years later. But the thing is, I'm telling you that I'm a huge fan of the Impreza, but if you've read my reviews, thank you. If you've watched my videos, thank you again. You probably have a hard time believing me because I almost never bring it up as a competitor when I review, say, a Corolla, a Civic, a Mazda 3, an Elantra, a Forte, and so on and so forth. It's only recently dawned on me as to why that is. Somewhere around 2008, when the Impreza got, well, ugly, it kind of somewhat fell off my radar. But it was really for the 2012 model year when Subaru decided to drop the hatchback version of the WRX and STI for North America that in fact, it wasn't really only that, because right around that time, two other things happened. The CVT arrived, and the XV Crosstrek, also known as only the Crosstrek, arrived. And all of that kind of cast a massive shadow on the still very interesting and competent Subaru Impreza. All this is flooding into me as I drive this car around for the last few days, realizing how much I still really like this car, but also, once again, understanding why it just doesn't make my initial cut anymore. I mean, it doesn't have any specific real flaws. So what's wrong with this car? There isn't anything wrong with this car. Well, anyway, what we have to do now, obviously, is go for the old walk around and take it for a spin and come to a conclusion as to why is it that I keep omitting it on my list of competitors when it comes to talking about compact cars. I just want to quickly touch on styling and repeat two things I just said: Outback Sport and the 2008 model year car. I mean, for 08 up until 11, the car was anything but attractive, and that kind of stayed with me. I kind of mentioned that. And the other one, the Outback Sport, well, Subaru figured out decades ago that safaring all the things is absolutely the way to go, and I'm totally on board for that. So what I'm trying to say is that if we fast forward to the 2017 current generation Impreza, well, it's a very attractive car, but it has one bug, and I mentioned this one too already. I mean, for me anyway, and for many Subaru fans, the Crosstrek, the Safari'd, if you will, Impreza is just that much more attractive and visually appealing. But from every angle, every conceivable way, this car is still quite attractive. It's almost a little manly in certain ways, where there are only a few curves, but most of it is very square and flat. Let's touch on pricing quickly. $18,795 for the base 4-door in the US. If you want a 5-door, it's $500 more. In Canada, $19,995 for the base 4-door. It's an extra $1,000 for an extra door. At the other end of the spectrum, $26,395 for the limited 5-door in the US. In Canada, well, you're staring at it right here. $31,795 for the Sport Tech with eyesights. The base car is still reasonably well equipped, obviously, all-wheel drive. 6.5-inch touchscreen display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And then when you move all the way up to the Sport Tech, this model, which I can tell you right now is not the version to get. I mean, just a regular Sport for $26,395 will give you the 8-inch display, 17-inch wheels, and a bunch of other features. Better value, in my opinion, than this car. But this one you do get leather, that same 8-inch display, navigation, satellite radio, 18-inch wheels, Harman Kardon audio, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's fine, but I can do without the 18-inch wheels and the leather. Really, in the real world, they don't mean much. Trunk, it's a hatchback. I guess that's the best redeeming quality of this, but then the Crosstrek's a hatchback too. So that reveals 588 liters of trunk space. Seems like a big number from what I can see, but you know what? It's very accessible, very usable, and it works. All right, so getting on board, I'm kind of doing this a little bit quicker than usual because it's not an all new car, but look, ingress and egress is great. There's a very long and high opening here for the rear seat. Sliding aboard is quite easy. Plenty of leg room. You won't really have the luxury of fitting 3 across comfortably, but here, have a little shot, little glimpse of the dashboard up front. There's one thing about the modern Subarus is the way they're assembled. I mean, they weren't always classy on the inside. I know, I owned an 03 Impreza and it was pretty, well, bargain basement everything at the time, but this is different. I mean, this is nicer than what a lot of the other Japanese automakers are putting together. Maybe not Mazda, but others. But look, you can see that it's classy, it's quality, it all looks really well put together. We're gonna slide aboard, start her up. So we can start up here with your classic 6.3-inch display that you'll get in most Subaru products. It's just a signature little design feature. And yes, it says 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers. There's your 8-inch display with everything you need, including Subaru Starlink, satellite radio navigation, it's all included. Lovely analog gauges. I mean, there's nothing negative to say there. What else can I add? Storage. Well, HVAC is so straightforward, it almost talks to you. Same thing with the redundant hard buttons to navigate through the menu. Storage, not huge. It's okay, I guess. If you don't fit your mask right there in a cup holder, or you can always put it in. I got this very small little cubby hole there. Door bins are a good size, at least. Oops, elbowed the horn, very good. But one of the highlights of these cars is always visibility forward. Look at how thin the A-pillar is, how big this piece of glass is, relatively speaking. But none of this is really what kind of always puts the Impreza off my list. And well, it's no real surprise why it misses the list. Anyway, it's time to go for a drive. I kind of just hinted at, well, one of the main issues with the Impreza, or what it is. Look, honestly, I know this as I'm saying it, it's no longer entirely relevant. But having said that, the fact of the matter is that I know that it quickly drops off a number of consumer shopping lists, including my own family, when people want to buy a compact SUV, a compact car, a mid-size station wagon, or even a 3-row SUV as the CVT. I mean, and I've said this before, they've evolved dramatically just over the last 5 years, maybe even less. And Subaru's Lineartronic setup is still really, really good for what it is. But it's obviously overcompensating for a number of things and not entirely managing to do a good job about it. I mean, look, from a dead stop, the way it's geared, if you will, it gives you the impression from a dead stop upon acceleration that you have 1,000 pounds of torque. This thing takes off so hard, so fast, but I mean, it just tapers off almost instantaneously. And then there's the question about fuel economy. Like you saw, 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers is what I'm averaging now. That's a far cry from the 7.5 liters or 8 you could potentially expect in mixed driving now. Mixed driving, I'm doing 75% of my driving right now is in the city, but I'm far from abusing the car. So the reality is that it's an 8.5 liter car. But look, with the CVT, naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 152 horsepower, 145 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, blah, 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 blah. It's not an entirely light car. It's not excessively heavy, but you factor all those things in together, along with all-wheel drive. in my opinion, and this is kind of, I'm jumping ahead to the conclusion here in a way, is that I would still rather have, say, a Subaru Impreza over a Civic hatchback, if mostly because of the all-wheel drive, the built-in capability. I would have no fear about going anywhere at any given time or any point in the year with this car because of how good the all-wheel drive system is. So if that's a 0.5 liter per 100 kilometer penalty or a full liter, I'm more than happy with that compromise. But that's about the end of the compromises, because this car, built on Subaru's global platform, is still spectacular. I mean, I was a little bit buggered by the fact that I was getting a Sport Tech because of the 18-inch wheels and tires and the low-profile sidewalls, but the fact of the matter is, because of the platform and the smart damping from the struts, from the suspension, the ride quality is surprisingly good. So with the 17-inch wheels and tires from the Sport model that I was suggesting earlier, the ride quality is going to be even nicer, which will give me even more reason and, well, build up my desire to just take off with an Impreza over a number of other cars. The bottom line is that I am still personally buggered by the CVT. Not entirely a fan of the 5-speed manual transmission available in the base models, but the bottom line is that the Subaru Impreza is still an ultra competent, reliable, relatively efficient, smartly designed compact car that needs to be driven and appreciated. I think maybe there's a blockage there. I mean, people assume Corolla's the way, or Civic's the way, or Elantra's the way. But once they sample, right, a Subaru Impreza, or any Subaru product for that matter, I mean, they keep going back for more. So there's got to be something that Subaru buyers understand, that maybe, or buyers and owners that I don't get, because I keep forgetting this car despite how good it is. It's a very honest product, unassuming, but still ultra competent. Anyhow, I'm kind of repeating myself here because I'm trying to, make myself hear my own words and remember to bring it up next time I talk about, say, a 2022 Honda Civic or something else.